So I thought I was a workaholic until I started speaking to Tiffany, who is working for 3 HR departments. And when I asked her why she was doing this, she was like, she thinks she's crazy, but I'm pretty sure she has an amazing work ethic. Let's welcome Tiffany on 10 Minutes of Hiring Wisdom, where she will tell us about her experience working as an HR manager, what she has learned, and what are the job openings that she currently are open with the company that she's currently working with. Hi, Tiffany. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm great. How are you? Thanks for having me
Good.
on, by the
Of
way.
course. Thank you so much, Tiffany. So, Tiffany, can you tell us about what companies are you working with? What your role is with them?
Absolutely. So I'm the HR leader for not one, not two, but three very cool technology companies. The main being KMS Technology. We focus on kind of consulting and development, some outsourcing capabilities. And then Kobaton is actually a mobile app testing platform. So companies that are developing apps use our product to test their apps in the cloud and on premise. And then we have another that's called Catalan, which is a bit smaller. They offer an automated QA testing solution. So we have positions open on all three. It's kind of a mix. It depends on the day. A few things like account executive, some DevOps opportunities. So the door is always open. If anyone's interested, you can always reach me at hr@kobaton.com. That's one of the main emails you can find me at.
Okay, perfect. And Tiffany, I'd love to know, because I think it applies to everyone. How do you manage three different positions at the same time, considering they all require a lot of effort? They all require timely replying to different emails and everything. So, how do you make sure that you don't compromise on the quality of your work at the end of the day?
Well, one of the main things I use is my Google Calendar. That's my best friend. And of course, I have three of them because three companies. So the biggest thing is keeping my calendar up to date, making sure people can find the information that they need so that you get fewer of just general inquiries coming in and you get to focus on more strategic items or project related items that come in throughout the day. And also just communicating quickly and clearly, I would say. So if I know I'm going to be out one day doing something with maybe just one company, I try to make sure that everyone at the other companies is aware that I'm going to be out of office message, let them know in advance, things like that. So just make sure everyone's on the same page.
Okay. And you mentioned that one of the companies that you work with specifically offshores its mobile testing. And I think I read about it. It was specifically in Vietnam. So can you maybe specify regarding how does it work working with working with a team specifically that is completely in a different country, let alone that has a complete different time zone than what we have in the US?
Yes. So I'm pretty used to it because I've always had to do it since I've been in HR. I mean, mostly we're just very respectful of the time difference. There is an 11 or 12-hour time difference between myself and my colleagues in Vietnam. And they have an HR team as well. As a matter of fact, we have a meeting tomorrow night at 8:30, I think. Sometimes I have a 10 p.m. meeting just so I'm not always asking them to, meet with me on Eastern time, and it makes things very, very easy. I'm usually up anyway. So if we have something we want to collaborate on, instead of us just emailing back and forth, and if it's easier, we just set a meeting, see who's okay with either working late or working early, and then we go from there. Our communication is pretty good. Like I said, if it can be in an email, we'll do it in an email. But sometimes it's nice to have that face-to-face contact, whether people are local or overseas. Um, we
Of
just we
course.
just communicate in any way possible.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And I'd love to hear because you've had such a variety of experience working with three companies as an HR individual. What are some tips that you would have for job seekers out there, specifically when they're applying for tech roles? Because you worked with a lot of tech companies.
Yes. Ooh, that's a good one. So, tips for people who want to work in technology. Number one is make sure you're always targeting your resume for the specific job you're applying to. Even if there are three different jobs you want to apply to at one company and they're sort of similar, you want to make sure you're hitting the high points and addressing exactly what they're asking for. It may be great that you're certified in a software tool, but if it's not relevant to that position, the hiring manager might not care. So, that's definitely one big tip. The second I would say is if you are going to be technical, get the certifications over time to show that you're staying relevant in your education and what you're bringing to the table because technology changes every day. You can't just go, get a degree in something and assume that you're going to be able to do the job. It changes every day. So make sure that you're staying up to date and always brushing up on what's new in the technology space. I think those are the two main things. And then also, I'll throw a third one in there. Remain active or become active on LinkedIn and some of the different groups you see out there, because people share a lot of information as far as job opportunities, ways to get your foot in the door. There are a lot of free events, especially in the Atlanta area, or the East Coast period, where you can do even virtual meetups and talk to people, co-founders, startup employees, where they share a lot of good feedback and advice as far as shifting into technology or just moving up in the technology space.
That's a good advice. I think people love speaking about themselves, and I think a lot of candidates usually underestimate how useful it would be to just reach out to a co-founder for just a 10-minute like chat over like video or Skype or Zoom. So that's definitely really useful. So thank you for sharing that, Tiffany. And Tiffany, I'd love to hear regarding. So you mentioned that when you're actually applying to jobs, make sure that you tailor your resume to that. How do you make sure that you hit all the high points according to the job description? This might be basic, but I think a lot of people, even me, usually fall short on that. So how do you make sure you actually cater to the job description that is in front of you to make sure you get that job?
Yes, that's a great question. And it is sort of simple, but also can just get lost so easily. I'll give you one perfect example. For myself, I'm an HR professional. If I were looking for a position now, look at what they're actually calling that title. This is something that a lot of people miss because companies are using applicant tracking systems. It's not typical that there's an actual person sitting there and going through all the resumes. We do that at my company, but everyone's not doing that because you get on average 250 resumes. But in my case, if a company is hiring for, let's say, a people operations manager, I know that that's the same thing that I am, but my company just calls it human resources manager. Call yourself the same thing that that company is calling the role. That's one major way to check a box because they're going to look for someone who's had the title already. Another thing is at that top third of your resume, that's where you need to catch everyone's eye. As someone who goes through resumes, I'm not going past the top third. Have a short professional summary, not an objective statement. And in that professional summary, you want to talk about how you have done at least three of the key skills that they're looking for in that job description. If they want someone who's managed benefits, say 3+ years in managing benefits. If they want someone who's implemented HR systems, talk about how you've implemented HR systems. It's very, very important that you do so. Otherwise, you're not going to capture my attention and I'm not going to forward you to the hiring manager.
That makes sense. Well, I mean, I think that was really, really useful because I think a lot of people usually tend to overanalyze, overcomplicate the process
Mhm.
when it's the smallest details that can actually get you that dream job and make you stand out amongst the thousands of other applicants that are applying for the same jobs. So that was definitely really useful, and I will consider that for myself as well if I do continue searching for a job. So thank you so much for sharing that, Tiffany.
You're so
Well,
welcome.
so Tiffany, I think that was pretty much it. It was an absolute pleasure having you as a guest. I will definitely, if people do reach out to me with interest regarding any of the three companies that you work with, I will definitely forward them to you. But other than that, I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week.
Thank you. And I was so excited to be here and to share that useful
Of
information.
course. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.